The tall blue alien woman named Zari stepped off her ship and onto Earth soil for the first time. Her 7-foot frame towered over the human settlement guards who approached with weapons ready. She raised her 4 arms in surrender, her silver eyes blinking rapidly in the harsh sunlight. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. Zari was an explorer from the Lumina Empire, a vast collection of worlds ruled by females of various species. Her ship had been damaged in an asteroid field and she barely managed to crash land on this primitive world called Earth. The humans here had only just begun space travel and were not yet part of the galactic community. The human guards looked terrified, but one of them, a smaller female, stepped forward. Her name badge read Kate Bishop. Kate was not supposed to be working this shift. She had traded with another guard to have time off for her birthday tomorrow, but now she stood face to face with the first confirmed alien visitor to Earth and felt strangely calm. She lowered her weapon first. What happened next would change the course of human history. The human leader, a woman named Samantha Reeves, was called to the scene. She arrived quickly, her red hair blowing in the wind as she exited her vehicle. Samantha was the governor of this colony, one of 5 human settlements that had been established on the frontier lands. "Why are you here?" Samantha asked slowly, using simple words and hand gestures. Zari touched a device on her wrist and suddenly her voice translated into English. "I am stranded. My ship is damaged. I mean no harm to your people." The 2 females from different worlds studied each other. Neither knew that they were being watched from the nearby hills. Hidden among the trees was Vex, the deadliest hunter from the Draxian Empire. The Draxians were rivals of the Lumina and had been trying to capture Zari for cycles. She possessed valuable information about defense systems Vex had followed her damaged ship to Earth and now saw an opportunity to complete her mission. Samantha made a bold decision. She would help the alien visitor despite protocol, demanding that Zari be detained. She recognized the fear in those silver eyes, something that crossed all species. "Barriers, I will help you fix your ship," she told Zari. "But you must share your knowledge with us. We are new to space travel and could use guidance." Kate was assigned as Zari's personal guard. The human woman was fascinated by the alien technology. Zari carried small devices that could heal wounds instantly, food replicators that could create any meal from base elements, communication systems that worked across vast distances without delay. They began working together in a makeshift workshop using parts salvaged from Zari's ship and human components that might be compatible. Kate was particularly skilled with electronics, having studied engineering before joining the colony security force. The workshop was set up in an old storage building at the edge of the colony. It was filled with tools and equipment that looked primitive to Zari, but Kate handled them with impressive skill. The human woman had a natural talent for understanding how things worked, even alien technology. Zari watched as Kate disassembled part of the ship's navigation system. Her 4 hands remained still as the human worked. The alien was surprised by how quickly Kate grasped the basic principles of Luminan technology. "You learn fast," Zari commented as Kate correctly identified the quantum stabilizer, a key component that needed repair. Kate smiled. "I always liked taking things apart, even as a kid. My mom said I broke more toasters than we could afford." She wiped sweat from her forehead, leaving a streak of grease. "It was worth it, though. I learned how everything worked." Samantha visited them regularly, bringing food and updates about the colony's reaction to their visitor. Most humans were curious but afraid. Some demanded that Zari be locked up. Others wanted to steal her technology. "We must be careful," Samantha warned them. "Not everyone understands what this means for humanity." As the days passed, Zari began to appreciate the simple ingenuity of humans. They lacked the advanced technology of the Lumina, but they made up for it with creative solutions. Using basic tools and materials, Kate managed to repair components that would have required specialized equipment in the Luminan Empire. On the 3rd day, Zari shared stories of her home world, a planet with 2 moons and vast oceans of purple water. She described cities that floated in the clouds and deep-sea colonies where her people studied ancient life forms. Kate listened with wonder, asking questions about things Zari took for granted. How Do you power your cities? What games do your children play? Do you have music and art? Of course we have art, Zari answered. We have been creating for thousands of years. But she had to admit that human art seemed more varied and emotional than what she was used to. Kate showed her pictures of earth paintings and played music from different human cultures. The alien was fascinated by the range of expression. While they worked, Vex continued to observe from a distance. The Draxian hunter was patient, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. She studied the colony's defenses, noting the primitive weapons and simple security systems. It would be easy to infiltrate. But she wanted both Zari and the information she carried. Rushing would risk failure. Vex sent a coded message to her command ship requesting a small strike team. The humans would be no match for trained Draxian warriors. That night, Kate took Zari to her small home on the edge of the colony. It was safer than keeping the alien in the public workshop. They sat on Kate's porch looking up at the stars. Can you see your home from here? Kate asked. Zari pointed to a faint cluster of stars barely visible to the human eye. My world orbits the third star in that group. It is very far from here. Kate was silent for a moment, thinking about the vastness of space and how small Earth must seem to someone who had traveled between stars. Why were the Draxians chasing you? She finally asked. Zari's silver eyes dimmed slightly. I discovered something. I should not have information about an ancient weapon. The Lumina Empire wants to preserve it. The Draxian Empire wants to use it. Before she could explain further, a security alarm sounded from the colony center. Red lights flashed in the distance, and they could hear shouting. Something is wrong, Kate said, standing up. We need to get back to Samantha. They hurried through the darkened streets of the colony. The few humans still outside looked at Zari with suspicious eyes, blaming the alien for whatever was happening. Kate kept a protective hand on Zari's arm, guiding her toward the colony's command center. When they arrived, they found Samantha organizing security teams. Someone had broken into the workshop where they had been repairing. Zari's ship parts were missing, including the navigation system they had been working on. The thief left this, Samantha said, holding up a small metal object with strange markings. Zari took it, her silver eyes widening. This is Draxian, a warning symbol. They know I am here and they want me to know they are coming. Vex stared at them with cold reptilian eyes. The Draxian hunter showed no fear despite being captured. This is only the beginning, she said, her voice low and threatening. More will come. The Draxian Empire does not abandon its hunts. Kate crossed her
arms. Then we'll be ready for them too. Samantha joined them in the holding cell. She had brought Olivia with her. The engineer carried a device they had salvaged from one of the captured Draxian weapons. We have questions, Samantha said to Vex. How many?
More of your kind are coming. When will they arrive? The Draxian remained silent, her scaled skin shifting color slightly, despite the UV lights that should have prevented it. She will not talk easily, Zari warned. These hunters are trained to resist. Interrogation. Olivia held up the device she carried. This might help. It's from their communication system. If we can access it, we might intercept their transmissions. Kate took the device, examining it carefully. It was similar to parts of Zari's ship she had repaired, but with significant differences. The technology was designed for stealth rather than exploration. She handed it to Zarikan. You make it work. Zari studied the device, her 4 hands moving deftly over its surface. I can try, but Draxian, encryption is complex. It will take time. They left Vex under heavy guard and moved to the engineering bay where they could work without interruption. The colony was still on high alert, with security teams patrolling continuously. Citizens who had been in shelters were now helping repair damage from the attack. Olivia cleared a workspace for them, bringing tools and power sources. The human engineer watched with fascination as Zari disassembled the Draxian device, revealing its inner workings. It's beautiful in a way, Olivia commented, looking at the intricate components. So advanced, yet so efficient. Kate nodded in agreement, studying how everything fit together. The Draxians might be their enemies, but their technology was impressive. Zari worked, For hours, her silver eyes focused intensely on the task, her 4 hands moving in perfect coordination as she bypassed security measures and rewired components. Kate assisted, providing tools and making suggestions based on her understanding of similar systems. Finally, Zari connected the last wire. The device hummed to life, a holographic display appearing above it. "We did it," she said with satisfaction. "We can now monitor Draxian communications within this star system." Kate squeezed her shoulder. "Gently, niece work." She turned to Olivia. "Can you get Samantha? We need to show her this." Olivia hurried off, returning minutes later with the colony leader. Samantha looked tired, but her eyes sharpened with interest when she saw the active device. Zari explained what they had accomplished. The device would alert them when Draxian ships entered the solar system and would allow them to listen to communications between those ships. "Based on what I can see," Zari said, pointing to data streams flowing. "Across the display there is a Draxian command ship in orbit around your moon. They are waiting for Vex and her team to report." The news was sobering. The enemy was closer than they had thought, and likely had more forces than the small colony could handle. "How many troops would a command ship carry?" Kate asked. Zari's expression was grim. "At least 50 warriors, possibly more, and their weapons would be stronger than what the strike team carried." Samantha paced the room, thinking, "We need to prepare for a larger attack, but we also need more help." She turned to Kate. "Can we contact the other Earth colonies?" The 5 human colonies on Earth were spread across different continents. Each was essentially independent, although they shared resources and information. The nearest was 300 miles away. Kate nodded. "We have radio communication. It's not as fast or reliable as what Zari is used to, but it works." "Then send the message," Samantha ordered. "Tell them everything. Show them what we captured. They need to prepare too, and ask for any military support they can spare." While Kate sent messages to the other colonies, Zari continued monitoring the Draxian communications. She learned that the command ship was waiting for 48 Earth hours before sending a second team. If Vex did not report by then, they would assume the mission had failed and launch a full attack. "We have 2 days," Zari told Samantha when she returned. "That is how long before they attack in force." The colony leader nodded, grimly. "It's not much time, but well use every minute." She turned to Olivia. "We need to mass-produce the weapons and defenses that worked against the strike team. UV barriers, stun modifications, everything." Olivia nodded. "I will organize manufacturing teams. We can convert the assembly building." Kate suggested they try to learn more from their prisoner. Perhaps if Vex knew they could intercept Draxian communications, she might be more willing to talk. They returned to the holding cell where Vex remained, under guard. The Draxian hunter looked up as they entered, her expression unreadable. "We know about the command ship," Zari said, watching for a reaction. "We know they will attack in force in 2 days." Vex showed no surprise. "You will all die," she said simply. "Your primitive defenses cannot stop a Draxian warship." But Kate noticed something, a slight tension in the hunter's posture. She decided to take a chance on a bluff. "We have already contacted the other human colonies," she said. "Thousands of defenders are on their way with weapons that can disable your ship's technology." This time there was a definite reaction. Vex shifted position, her scales rippling with color. "Change as you lie," the Draxian hissed. "Your species is isolated." "Primitive," Samantha stepped forward. "Our species has survived Ice Age's plagues and our own destructive tendencies. We have adapted and evolved for thousands of years, and now we will adapt to you." She gestured to Kate and Zari. "Continue monitoring the communications. Try to learn more about their attack plan." The next day was a flurry of activity throughout the colony. Every able person was put to work. Manufacturing teams produced UV barriers and modified weapons. Security forces trained with the new equipment. Medical staff prepared for casualties. Shelters were stocked with supplies. The first responses from other colonies arrived by radio. They were sending help. Transport vehicles were already on the way, carrying soldiers and equipment. The closest colony had a small, military force with aircraft that could reach them by the next morning. Kate worked with Zari to improve their defenses. They used parts from the captured Draxian weapons to enhance the colony's shields. The alien technology combined with human ingenuity created systems that neither species would have developed alone. During a rare break, they sat on the roof of the command center, looking up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the Draxian command ship waited hidden from human detection systems, but visible to the modified scanner they had built. "Do you think we can win?" Kate asked, her voice quiet in the night air. Zari was silent for a moment. "The odds are not in our favor," she finally admitted. "But I have learned not to underestimate humans. You achieve impossible things with limited resources." Kate smiled, taking that as a compliment. "Do the Lumina have a concept like hope?" Zari considered the question. "We believe in preparation and probability, not in wishing for favorable outcomes. Hope isn't just wishing." Kate explained it's a driving force. It makes humans fight harder than logic says we should. It's why we're still here, despite everything that could have wiped us out. Zari seemed to understand. My people would benefit from learning this concept. The next morning, the first reinforcements arrived. 3 aircraft from the nearest colony carrying 30 soldiers and equipment. Landing in the colony's central square, they were quickly integrated into the defense plans. More help was on the way, but it would not arrive before the Draxian deadline. They would have to face the initial attack with what they had. Midday brought an unexpected development. The Draxian communications device detected a new signal. The command ship was moving closer to Earth, preparing attack positions. "They're coming early." Kate realized they must suspect something. Samantha ordered the colony to battle stations. Civilians moved to the reinforced shelters while defense teams took their positions. Kate, Zari, and Olivia hurried to the command center, bringing the monitoring equipment with them. The tension was palpable as they watched the scanner Zari had built. The Draxian ship was now visible, a red dot moving through Earth's upper atmosphere. "How long?" Kate asked. Zari checked the calculations. 1 hour, maybe less. "They are moving faster than I expected." Samantha sent a final update to the other colonies, then addressed the defense teams through the communication system. "Today we face an enemy from beyond our world," she said, her voice steady and confident. "They think we are weak and primitive. They expect us to surrender or die, but they do not know humans. They do not know that throughout our history, we have faced threats and survived. We have adapted, overcome, evolved. We will show them the strength of humanity." A cheer went up from the defenders. Kate felt a surge of pride in her species. Despite the danger, despite the advanced enemy facing them, the humans stood ready to defend their home. Zari watched with amazement. These people, with their simple technology and fragile bodies, were preparing to face an enemy that had conquered dozens of worlds, and they believed they could win. The scanner alarm sounded. The Draxian ship had entered the atmosphere and was descending toward the colony. Its massive shadow would soon appear in the sky. Zari turned to Kate and Samantha. "I must tell you something in case we do not survive." They looked at her expectantly. The Draxian warship hovered above the colony, casting a shadow that plunged the settlement into artificial twilight. Its massive hull was dark and angular, designed to intimidate as much as to attack. Weapon ports opened along its sides, glowing with energy. The colony's defenses seemed pitifully small in comparison. Their modified weapons and UV barriers like children's toys against a military juggernaut. A voice boomed from the ship, speaking English but with a harsh accent. "We know you hold Vex and the Luminan traitor. Surrender them now or we will destroy your settlement." Samantha stood in the central square looking up at the massive ship. She held a communication device that Olivia had modified to broadcast at the ship's frequency. "Is Governor Samantha Reeves of Earth Colony 1. She responded, her voice steady despite her fear. "We will not surrender our guest or our prisoner. We offer you one chance to leave our world in peace." Laughter echoed from the ship. A brave speech, human. But foolish Kate and Zari watched from the command center, monitoring the scanner and defense systems. Around them, colony technicians worked at their stations. Each person knew their role in the coming battle. Zari pointed to the scanner. "Look," she said, "they are deploying dropships. Kate saw it too. Small craft detaching from the main vessel. They would carry Draxian warriors to different points around the colony, attempting to overwhelm their defenses from multiple directions. Samantha received the warning through her communicator. She signaled to the defense teams the reinforcement aircraft hidden around the perimeter powered up their engines, ready to intercept. The first Draxian dropship descended toward the eastern edge of the colony, its engines whining as it prepared to land. The human aircraft rose to meet it, launching modified missiles. Their weapons were basic but had been enhanced with technology from Zari's ship and the captured Draxian equipment. The missile struck true. The dropship shuddered as its shields flickered and failed. A second missile hit its engine. The Draxian craft spun out of control, crashing into the empty land beyond the colony boundary. A cheer went up from the human defenders. One down, but their celebration was short-lived. 3 more dropships were descending, and the main warship was powering up its primary weapons. Energy beams lanced down from the warship, striking the colony's outer buildings. The UV barrier absorbed some of the impact, but not all. Structures buckled and burned under the assault return fire. Samantha ordered. The defense teams activated the colony's largest weapons, modified cannons that combined human artillery with Zari's technology. They fired upward at the warship. The blasts struck the Draxian vessel's shields, creating ripples of energy across its surface. It was not enough to penetrate, but the warship adjusted position, moving higher, as if surprised by the strength of the human weapons. In the command center, Kate watched the scanner with growing concern. The remaining dropships were landing. Warriors would soon be attacking on foot. "We need to focus on the ground troops," she said to Samantha through the communicator. "We can't match their ship weapons, but we can handle their warriors." Samantha agreed. Defense teams shifted to ground positions, ready to repel the incoming Draxians. The UV barriers were strongest here, forming a perimeter around the central colony buildings. The first Draxian warriors appeared at the edge of the settlement. Their camouflage partially effective despite the daylight, they moved with deadly precision, weapons raised. The human defenders held their positions until the Draxians were within range of the UV lights. Then they activated the barriers. The harsh light revealed the aliens, disrupting their camouflage. The Draxians hissed in pain and anger as their advantage disappeared. The battle erupted in earnest. Human defenders fired their modified weapons, while Draxian warriors used advanced energy weapons that could cut through buildings. The humans had numbers and home ground advantage. The Draxians had superior training and technology. Kate led a team defending the command center. They had set traps along the approach, routes, simple but effective devices that could detect the Draxians even when invisible. A sensor alarm beeped. "They're coming," she warned her team. "Get ready, 5. Draxian warriors appeared, moving in formation toward the command center entrance. Kate waited until they were in position, then activated the trap. Electrical charges surged through metal plates hidden under the ground. The warriors convulsed as the current disrupted their equipment and nervous systems. "Take them," Kate ordered her team. Rushed forward, firing stun weapons at the disoriented aliens. 3 went down immediately. The other 2 recovered quickly enough to return fire. Energy bolts struck the building around them. Kate ducked behind a barrier, firing her weapon from cover. 1 bolt hit a Draxian in the chest. The alien collapsed. The last warrior charged forward, moving faster than seemed possible. Kate rolled to the side, barely avoiding a blow that would have crushed her skull. The Draxian loomed over her. Its reptilian, face contorted with rage. Kate had lost her weapon in the roll. She scrambled backward, knowing she couldn't outrun or overpower the alien warrior. A blue blur tackled the Draxian from the side. Zari had joined the fight, using all 4 of her arms to grapple with the warrior. The 2 aliens crashed to the ground, struggling for dominance. The Draxian was stronger, but Zari was quicker. Kate grabbed her fallen weapon and fired. The stun blast hit the Draxian in the back. The warrior went rigid, then collapsed. Zari stood up, breathing hard. "Are you okay?" Kate nodded. "Thanks for the save around the colony." Similar scenes played out. The humans using their preparation and knowledge of the terrain to counter the Draxian's superior technology. The colony's defense teams had been trained for weeks on how to fight the aliens, and it showed in their coordination and effectiveness. But the warship still loomed overhead. its weapons continuing to bombard the outer colony structures. The shields Olivia had created were weakening under the assault. If the ship broke through the colony's main buildings would be destroyed in the holding cell. Vex listened to the sounds of battle. A slight smile played across her scaled face. The human guards watched her nervously, their attention divided between their prisoner and the explosions outside. Samantha coordinated the defense from a mobile command post, moving between positions to rally her people. The colony leader had been a diplomat before the Earth crisis, not a soldier. But she had adapted to her role as protector of her people. Status report. She called into her communicator. Kate responded from the command center, eastern and southern perimeters holding northern section under heavy assault reinforcement. Team 3 is moving to support. The command ship is still bombarding the shields. Olivia says they will fail in approximately 20 minutes. We need to take out that ship. Samantha said, it's the only way. But how their shields are too strong for our weapon. Zari, who had returned to the command center, studied the scanner. Her silver eyes narrowed as she noticed something. The main ship's shield pattern was fluctuating. When it fired its primary weapons, a small section of the shield weakened. Pointed this out to Kate and Olivia. If we could hit it precisely at that moment with enough force. Olivia calculated quickly. We would need to combine all our remaining power into one weapon, and the timing would have to be perfect. Kate looked at the colony power grid. Most of their energy was being used to maintain the defensive shields. They couldn't divert it without leaving themselves vulnerable. I have an idea, she said, looking at Zari. The alien technology in your ship, the power core, is it still functional? Zari nodded. It is damaged, but the core still has energy. Why? Kate explained her plan. They could use the power core from Zari's ship to create a single powerful weapon. One shot at the Draxian warship's weak point when its shields fluctuated, it's risky. Olivia warned. If we time it wrong, we waste our only chance. If the core destabilizes, it could explode. But Zari agreed with Kate. It might work. The Luminin power core operates on different principles than Draxian shields. It might penetrate where your weapons cannot. Samantha gave the authorization. Olivia and a team of engineers hurried to Zari's crashed ship to extract the power core. Kate and Zari worked on modifying one of the colony's largest cannons to accept the alien power source. Outside, the battle raged on. The human defenders were holding their own against the Draxian ground forces, but casualties were mounting. Medical teams worked frantically to treat the wounded, using both human medicine and healing devices. From Zari's ship, the warship continued its bombardment, each blast weakening the colony shields further. Large sections of the outer buildings were now in ruins. Fires burned across the settlement in the holding cell. Vex watched her guards with predatory attention. When a particularly large explosion shook the building, causing the lights to flicker, she made her move. With speed that belied her earlier stillness, she broke free of her restraints and attacked. The guards fought back, but were no match. For the elite hunter, Vex incapacitated them quickly and escaped into the chaos of the battle. Olivia's team returned with the power core from Zari's ship. The device hummed with blue energy, unlike anything the humans had seen before. The engineers worked quickly to integrate it with the modified cannon. Following Kate and Zari's design time is running out. Olivia warned, the main shields will fail in less than 10 minutes. The modified cannon was positioned in the central square aimed up at the Draxian warship. Kate checked the targeting system. They would have only seconds to fire when the ship's shields fluctuated. The colony command center buzzed with nervous energy as Samantha called an emergency meeting. Kate stood beside Zari, feeling the eyes of every human leader on them. Some were curious, others frightened, and a few openly hostile. Samantha stood at the front of the room, her voice steady despite the tension. We have confirmed that an alien threat is present on or near Earth. Their intentions appear to be hostile. A man with a security badge stood up. What does this alien want? He pointed at Zari. Is she the reason we are in danger? Zari stepped forward. I am Zari of the Lumina Empire. The ones who hunt me are called Draxians. They seek information I possess about ancient defensive technology. If they capture me, They will use it to dominate many, worlds including yours. The room erupted in angry voices. Some blamed Zari for bringing danger to Earth. Others demanded they hand her over to save themselves. Kate moved to stand in front of Zari protectively. "Stop!" she shouted. The room quieted. "I have worked with Zari. She has shared technology that could advance humanity by centuries. If we help her, she will help us." Samantha raised her hand for silence. "We will not surrender anyone to save ourselves. That is not who we are as humans. We will defend our colony and our guest." She turned to Zari. "Tell us about these Draxians. How do they fight? What are their weaknesses?" Zari explained that Draxians were master hunters with natural camouflage abilities. They could blend into almost any environment, making them nearly invisible. They had enhanced vision that could see in darkness and body heat sensors that could detect life forms through walls. Their weapons were designed to incapacitate rather than kill, as they preferred to take prisoners for information. But they have weaknesses too. Zari continued. They rely heavily on their technology and natural abilities. They are not used to improvising. When faced with unexpected situations, they often retreat to regroup. Their eyes are sensitive to certain light frequencies, particularly in the ultraviolet spectrum. Kate listened carefully, already forming ideas. "We can use that," she said to Samantha. "We have UV lights in the agricultural section. We could modify them." Samantha nodded. "Good thinking." She turned to the colony leaders. "We need to prepare. Everyone has a role. Security teams will patrol in groups of 3. No one goes anywhere alone. Engineering will work with Kate and Zari to develop defenses. Medical will prepare for possible casualties. Meeting broke up with each person hurrying to their assigned tasks. Kate took Zari to the engineering bay where they met Olivia Chen, the colony's head engineer. Olivia was a practical woman in her 50s with short gray hair and hands calloused from years of work. She examined the parts of Zari's ship with professional interest. "So these aliens can turn invisible," Olivia said as she disassembled a UV lamp. "We need to level the playing field." For the next 2 days, the colony prepared. They modified UV lights to create barriers around key areas, installed motion sensors that would detect even camouflaged movement, and created simple but effective traps. Kate worked tirelessly with Zari and Olivia, developing weapons that could penetrate Draxian armor. Zari was impressed by human ingenuity. "On my world, we would use quantum disruptors to detect cloaked enemies," she told Kate as they tested a modified sensor. "Your people are creating similar results with much simpler technology. It's not the tools, but how you use them," Kate replied with a smile. "We make do with what we have." While they worked, Samantha organized the colony's defenses, placing guards at strategic points and evacuating non-essential personnel to underground shelters. The colony was as ready as it could be. On the 3rd night after discovering the Draxian warning symbol, the attack began. It started with a power outage. Lights throughout the colony flickered and died. Backup generators kicked in, but they only powered essential systems like the medical bay and command center. The rest of the colony was plunged into darkness. Kate and Zari were in the engineering bay when it happened. They had been expecting this. Olivia had prepared independent power sources for their modified UV lights. They switched them on immediately, creating a protective barrier around the room. Samantha's voice came through on the emergency channel. "They are inside the perimeter security team. 2 is down, I repeat." "They are inside." Kate grabbed 2 modified stun weapons, handing one to Zari. "We need to get to the command center. Stay close to me." They moved through the darkened corridors of the colony, their path lit only by emergency lights and the UV barrier Kate carried. The few colonists they encountered hurried past, heading for the shelters. A shadow moved unnaturally near the mess hall. Kate stopped, holding up her hand in warning. She raised the UV light, revealing a Draxian warrior, its camouflage disrupted by the ultraviolet rays. The alien hissed in pain as the light hit its sensitive eyes. Kate fired her weapon. The modified stun blast hit the Draxian in the chest. The alien convulsed once, then collapsed. Kate moved forward, quickly securing the unconscious enemy with restraints they had designed, specifically for Draxian physiology. "We got one," she reported into her communicator. Across the colony, similar scenes played out. The humans using their improvised defenses against the technologically superior invaders. Some Draxians were captured. Others retreated when they encountered the unexpected resistance. Vex watched from her hiding place near the command center. Her strike team was failing against the primitive humans somehow. She had underestimated them, especially their ability to adapt and prepare so quickly. She decided to change tactics. The target was what mattered. Zari and the information she carried. Vex activated her personal shield, a technology beyond what the other Draxians used. It would protect her from the human weapons. Kate and Zari were halfway to the command center when Vex attacked. The elite hunter dropped from the ceiling, landing between them, her shield glowing faintly in the darkness. Kate fired her weapon. The blast hit the shield and dissipated harmlessly. Zari recognized the hunter. Vex, she said, her voice steady. You have failed. Your team is being captured as we speak. The Draxian hunter laughed, a harsh sound. I don't need a team to complete my mission. She moved with lightning speed, knocking Kate against the wall before the human could react. Kate hit hard, dropping her weapon and falling to the floor. Stunned, Vex turned to Zari. Now you will come with me, or I will kill your human friend. Zari looked at Kate, who was struggling to get up. The human met her eyes and gave a slight nod toward something on the floor near Vex. It was a small device they had developed, a localized EMP generator that would disable Draxian technology. Understanding the plan, Zari raised all four of her arms. I surrender, she said, taking a step toward Vex. But you must promise not to harm anyone else. The Draxian was suspicious but pleased. This is wise. You cannot escape me. While Vex was focused on Zari, Kate slowly reached for the EMP device. Her fingers closed around it and she pressed the activation button. A pulse of energy radiated outward. Vex's shield flickered and died. The hunter realized the trap too late. Kate launched herself forward, tackling the surprised Draxian. They crashed to the floor together, wrestling. For control, Vex was stronger and faster, but Kate fought with desperate intensity. Zari joined the fight, using all four of her arms to restrain the Draxian. The three of them rolled across the floor, knocking over equipment and crashing into walls. Finally, Kate managed to press her stun weapon against Vex's neck. She pulled the trigger. The Draxian hunter stiffened, then went limp. Kate sat back, breathing hard, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. That was close, she said. Zari helped her up. You fought. Well, the Lumina would be honored to have warriors like you. They secured Vex with the special restraints, making sure the hunter could not escape. Then they continued to the command center, where Samantha was coordinating the colony's defense. When they arrived, they found the situation mostly under control. The humans had captured or driven off most of the Draxian strike team. Using the UV lights and modified weapons, they had overcome their technological disadvantage through preparation and teamwork. Samantha looked exhausted but relieved when she saw them. You got the leader, she asked, noticing their prisoner. Kate nodded. This is Vex. She was after Zari specifically. Samantha studied the unconscious Draxian. We need to interrogate her. Find out if more are coming by. By morning, the colony had rounded up all the Draxian invaders, 7 captured, 3 dead. The humans had suffered injuries, but no fatalities. The medical team worked tirelessly. Treating the wounded, Kate sat in the medical bay. While a doctor stitched the cut on her forehead, Zari stood nearby, watching with concern. You should let me use a healing device on that, she said. It would not leave a scar. Kate smiled, wincing slightly at the pull of the stitches. Scars tell stories. I want to remember this one. When the doctor finished, Kate went to check on their prisoner. Vex had been placed in a secure room surrounded by UV lights. The Draxian hunter sat motionless on a bench, her camouflage abilities neutralized by the special lighting. Zari joined Kate as she entered the room. They stood facing the enemy, who had chased Zari across the stars. It's over, Vex. Kate said, Your team has failed. Earth is not as primitive as you thought. The energy beam from the Draxian warship struck the colony's remaining shields. The impact was tremendous, a blinding flash that illuminated the entire settlement. The shield held, but barely flickering, like a dying flame now. Kate shouted. She activated the modified cannon. The Luminon power core hummed to life, pulsing with blue energy. The weapon trembled as power surged through it. Then it fired. A brilliant blue beam shot upward directly at the Draxian warship. The beam struck precisely where Zari had indicated, hitting the vessel at the exact moment its shields fluctuated after firing. For a heartbeat, nothing seemed to happen. Then the ship's shields collapsed entirely, ripples of energy cascading across its hull. On the ground, Zari and Vex continued their desperate struggle. The Draxian hunter fought with the ferocity of someone who knew failure meant death. All four of Zari's arms were locked around Vex, trying to restrain the stronger warrior. Samantha grabbed a fallen stun weapon and moved to help Zari. But the governor was injured from the earlier blast. Her movements were slow. The Draxian saw her coming and kicked out, catching Samantha in the stomach. The colony leader fell back, gasping for breath. Kate could not leave the cannon. It needed to be recharged for a second shot now that the warship's shields were down. She worked the controls, her hands flying over the interface Olivia had designed. The power core was straining already, warning lights flashing on the control panel. The warship above them was not defenseless, even without shields. Secondary weapons pivoted toward the cannon. The ship was going to destroy the threat before they could fire again. Kate saw the weapons charging. "We need cover," she yelled. From across the colony, a barrage of fire rose upward. The reinforcement aircraft had regrouped, launching every missile they had at the Draxian ship. The attack was not powerful enough to destroy the vessel, but it distracted the gunners, drawing fire away from the cannon. The power core reached critical charge. Kate targeted the warship's engine section and fired again. The blue beam lanced upward, striking the now unshielded hull. Metal vaporized where the beam hit. A secondary explosion bloomed from the impact point. The Draxian ship shuddered. Smaller explosions cascaded along its length. Fire and debris fell from the damaged sections. The mighty vessel began to list to one side, its engines failing. Seeing their command ship crippled, the remaining Draxian ground forces began to retreat. Some rushed back to their dropships, others tried to activate emergency transport devices. The coordinated attack dissolved into chaos. Vex saw it too. The failure of the invasion, her mission collapsing around her. With a roar of fury, she broke free from Zari's grasp. The hunter drew a hidden blade and lunged not at Zari but at Kate. The human was still at the cannon controls, her back turned as she monitored the weapon's effect on the warship. She did not see the danger until it was almost too late. "Kate!" Zari screamed in warning. Kate turned just as Vex reached her. The Draxian's blade slashed downward. Kate threw herself to the side. The blade missed her throat but cut deep into her shoulder. She cried out in pain, falling to her knees. Vex raised the blade for a killing blow, but Samantha tackled the Draxian from behind. The governor and the hunter went down in a tangle of limbs. The blade skittered away across the ground. Zari rushed to Kate. The human was bleeding badly, clutching her wounded shoulder. The alien pulled out her last healing device, pressing it against the injury. The device glowed blue, knitting torn flesh and vessels together. "Stay still," Zari urged. "The device will heal you." Kate nodded weakly, her face pale from blood loss. Her eyes went wide, looking past Zari. "Watch out," she gasped. Vex had thrown Samantha off and retrieved her blade. The Draxian hunter charged toward them, hatred burning in her reptilian eyes. A blast struck Vex from the side. The hunter staggered, dropping to one knee. Olivia stood nearby, the engineer's uninjured arm holding a weapon. The Draxian turned toward this new threat, but before Vex could attack, another blast hit her. Then another colony defenders had arrived, surrounding the hunter with weapons raised. Vex looked at the humans, then up at the crippled warship. Her mission had failed completely. The hunter dropped her blade, raising her hands in surrender. Above them, the Draxian warship was attempting to limp away from Earth, its engines damaged but not completely destroyed. Fire still burned along its hull as it slowly rose higher into the atmosphere. "Should we finish it?" Olivia asked. The cannon had enough power for one more shot. Samantha looked at the retreating ship, then at the devastation around the colony buildings in ruins, people injured or dead. "Let it go," she decided. Let it take word back to the Draxian Empire that Earth is not an easy target. The defenders watched as the warship disappeared into the clouds, trailing smoke and debris. The battle was over. Earth had won against impossible odds. The cleanup began immediately. Medical teams treated the wounded while engineering crews assessed structural damage. The colony's defense team secured the captured Draxians, including Vex, who was placed in a more secure cell under heavy guard. Kate's injury was serious, but Zari's healing device had prevented the worst damage. She sat in the medical bay while a doctor finished treating. Her Zari stayed by her side. "I must admit," Zari said, "I did not think your people could defeat a Draxian warship." "Not with your level of technology," Kate smiled weakly. "Never underestimate humans, especially when we're protecting our home." Samantha joined them, her own injuries treated. The colony leader looked exhausted but proud. "The other colonies have been updated," she reported. "More reinforcements are arriving soon. And the other settlements are preparing defenses in case more Draxian ships come. Will they come back?" Kate asked, looking at Zari. The alien considered. "This defeat will not stop the Draxian Empire. They are persistent, but they are also practical. They will reassess the threat level of your world. This victory will buy you time. Perhaps years. Will use that time well," Samantha promised. "We're quick learners." In the days that followed, the colony began to rebuild. Structures were repaired, systems restored. The defensive innovations created during the crisis were refined and improved. Other Earth colonies sent resources and personnel to help. 1 week after the battle, Zari met with Kate and Samantha in the rebuilt command center. The alien had news that would change everything. "The Draxian warship has left your solar system," she told them. "My people have detected its departure. They are tracking it back toward Draxian space." "That's good news," Samantha said. "But from your expression, I sense there is more." Zari nodded. "The Lumina. High Council has contacted me through a secure channel. They are sending a diplomatic vessel to formally meet with humans." Kate's eyes widened. "That's incredible. First official contact between our species. It is unprecedented," Zari admitted. "The Lumina do not typically establish relations with worlds at your technological level. But your defense against the Draxians has impressed the Council. They believe humans have potential as allies." Samantha understood the significance. "This goes beyond our colony, beyond even Earth. This affects humanity's future among the stars. The Luminan ship will arrive in 10 days. Zari continued. "It carries representatives authorized to discuss technology exchange, defensive alliances, and possibly even space travel assistance for humans." The news spread quickly through the colony and then to the other Earth settlements. Humanity was about to take its first official steps into the galactic community. Kate and Zari stood on the roof of the command center watching the sunset. The sky painted in shades of orange and purple. It had become their special place, a quiet spot to talk and reflect. "Do you think our species can get along?" Kate asked. Zari considered this thoughtfully. "Humans are unpredictable, sometimes violent, sometimes kind, but you adapt quickly and value freedom. As we do, I believe we can find common ground." Kate smiled. "I hope you'll stay. Help us navigate this new relationship." The alien turned to look at her, all 4 arms gesturing in a way Kate had come to recognize as excitement. "My mission to protect the ancient defense system is complete. I have requested a new assignment as liaison to Earth." "The Council has approved." Kate felt a surge of happiness. "That's wonderful." "There is something else," Zari said, her tone becoming serious. "The defensive technology. I carry. The Council has authorized me to share aspects of it with humans. Not all at once, but gradually as your society proves ready." Kate was stunned. "That must be unprecedented too," it is Zari confirmed. "But recent events have shown that humans can be trusted with such knowledge. Your people fought not just for yourselves, but to protect me, a stranger from another world. That speaks to your character as a species." In the distance they could see the first stars appearing in the darkening sky, each one a potential home to other civilizations, other species. Humanity's universe had suddenly become much larger. The next day, Governor Samantha called a colony-wide meeting. Everyone gathered in the central square, which had been cleared of battle, debris and decorated with lights. "My friends," Samantha addressed the crowd, We stand at a turning point in human history. What began as a crash landing has led to humanity's introduction to the galactic community. She gestured to Zari, who stood nearby, the alien looking both proud and slightly uncomfortable at being the center of attention. Through courage, adaptation, and determination, we have earned respect among the stars, she continued. In the coming days, representatives from the Lumina Empire will arrive to establish formal relations with Earth. We will be the first to welcome them.